Yeah, you're going to have to behave. Well, Scully is not with me tonight, so you just have me and Sachi. Scully is out gallivanting. Yeah. Well, hello, my spooky friends. Yeah, you have me and Sachi and Lizzie, and you have a little ghost, my little ghosty friend. Scully is out, like I said, gallivanting with, of all people, Miss Scullett. I know. If you don't know, if you weren't around last Halloween, Scully was seeing a lady named Miss Scarlett O'Hara. And although I thought that maybe she had her own issues, I was fine with the relationship. I wanted him to be happy. However, they decided to take over this platform on Halloween. So I had to put an end to that. But, he is trying to encourage me to let bygones be bygones. So he's out talking to her, and perhaps, maybe, she'll be with us soon. I said maybe. Maybe during spooky season she can come for a visit. In the meantime, we have Sachi, my co host for tonight, who is definitely going to be a handful. All right, Saj. Now, tonight we're not going to be watching TikToks. I'm going to be reading some of your letters and comments. Sachi, you're going to have to behave. Mm. So let's get into it. Now, our first story comes from Wise Coconut, and she says, Dear Silky, I hope you are well and out of the path of potential tornadoes. Now, let me just say, I am behind on my letters. So this one actually was a couple of months ago. I have written before that my house may or may not be haunted. Signs are subtle, but nevertheless intriguing. Today is my latest example, short and sort of sweet. Tonight, as my husband was in the shower, I made him a cappuccino and set it on the table next to his chair. I then went back to the kitchen to make my own cappuccino. As I was preparing the espresso, I heard the soft clink of a spoon against the cup. For a beat, I think nothing of it, but I soon realized the shower was still running. Oh no, the puppy is getting into the coffee. The living room is just a few steps away, and I was in there so fast. But the puppy was laying in front of my chair, undisturbed and calm, and the coffee was untouched. It seems like maybe my spirit visitor has a taste for espresso. Well, I tell you what, your little spirit visitor definitely has some good taste. Who doesn't love a cappuccino? Come on, especially after a shower. Oh my goodness. So at least maybe you have a ghost who just wants a little comfort in the afterlife. And hey, who am I to argue? I would love someone to make me a cappuccino in the afterlife. My question is, can we drink it? And is it a ghostachino? Like, what is that? Somebody needs to tell us these things. I need to be prepared. Okay, our next story is from Zabby Cauldron. I'm not a nurse. My mom was in hospice for 16 days before she passed and was never conscious. This made the days long. In the room beside her was a lady named Bernice. She was alert and friendly. I walked the halls quite a bit to break from my mom's quiet room. I often stopped and talked to her. On the eighth day that my mom was there, Bernice's family had just left. She called me and asked, Will you look out the window and make sure they're gone? I don't want them to see me die. Oh no. I looked out to the parking lot and told her the cars were gone. This was a smaller hospice house with 3 patients at the time, so it was easy to see who was in the parking lot. She said, Thanks, you've been very sweet to me. I told her I'd stop by later to see her. Went back to my mom's room. Bernice passed that afternoon. When my mom passed, I went to a little courtyard and cried. I could feel someone behind me, but was too upset to give them any attention at that moment. From behind, I heard Bernice say, "One good turn deserves another. We are leaving together." Oh, wow. I swung round and no one was there. Maybe she waited for Mom to repay me for the time I spent with her. So, what do y'all think? That is pretty cool. So, OP's mom was in hospice for 16 days, and on the 8th day, Bernice passed. So, she had to stay around for 8 more days. But how cool is that? Just trying to help somebody out to make sure that his mom, I guess, didn't get lost, didn't get stuck here. Actually had an escort out. Wow. I think that is the coolest thing ever. What a story. Thank you so much for sharing that, Zabby Cauldron. Now, this story had to remain anonymous. And they said, "You're able to use this if you keep me anonymous. We moved into this house in January of 2024. I felt that this has some kind of attachment. One night it poured down rain the first month of staying here. I heard scratches on top of the roof. Due to we had gotten a brand new roof just as we moved in. I know it was them. It lasted most of the night." I'm going to put my glasses on. I then had gone outside next day. Planter had their footprints in the planter. On top of this, the planter is about 2 feet deep, and I can still see the imprints. I called my girlfriend. Her boyfriend confirmed it. He's part Blackfoot Indian. He said to give them an offering of tobacco. So my kid and I did the offering the next day. As we did it, felt at some sort of peace. Then I went to run some errands and I got to the mailboxes and my kid called me. She heard it screech. I turned around, hauled butt home. They say when this happens, they are closer than you think. If I can find photos, I will email them separately if you want them. Have a great weekend. Yes, I absolutely do. Wow. So I don't know what is screeching. They didn't say what this is. Um I'm not sure into reference to what video. And if it's an attachment to the house, I don't know if it's a ghost or if it's a another kind of spirit, a mimic. I don't know what they're talking about, but definitely something screeching. It's really spooky, though. Tell me in the comments, what would you do? Or if you have any other suggestions for OP, please let them know. Now, I have another one that didn't say whether it could be anonymous or whether I could use the name. So I'm going to let this one remain anonymous. So sorry if you didn't want it to be. It just says, "Hey, October 31st, 2021, my husband and I went on a ghost tour here close to me. We got home kind of late. Trick or toward the end of trick or treaters. Well, we all got settled in for the night. My daughter was home, and myself and my husband. We were all in bed by 11:30. Some kid was ringing the doorbell. My kid said, 'Mom, what's going on?' And I just told her, 'Do not open the door or look out the window.' Minutes later, my husband gets a notification of who was at the door. He swore it was our daughter. He didn't know she had messaged me. It was just weird. Was it a black eyed child? At this time, we were in a home development, mainly adults to elderly. It was a newer home development getting developed, so I know it was not another kid. Have a good day and weekend." Okay, so your child is home, you absolutely know, but then what, on the like the ring camera type thing, you see or your husband sees what appears to be your daughter out there trying to get in? Oh my gosh. And I think this is in reference to the video that we watched, the TikTok about the people that were trying to get in on the camera or that they saw which was absolutely horrifying. At least we have cameras nowadays to see who's trying to get in, because that is really spooky. Otherwise, you would think, like, you go downstairs, you would open the door and think, oh, it's my child. That's a doppelganger or a mimic, or, yeah, crazy. I'm just glad that you knew she was inside, because that is quite disturbing. Okay, this next one is sent in by Amanda. Hi, Lily/Silky. I really enjoy your channel and I've been binging to catch up. Well, thank you. I love watching your subscriber numbers increase. So do I. I would love to figure out how to do that. This is a great time to say, if you haven't hit the like button and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Please. Sachi would love it. Scully, even though he's not here, he would love it. See, when I said that, here she is, right on cue. Um, okay, so I appreciate that, Amanda. It's a great opportunity to say that. I have a couple of stories to share. I was a social services director at a SNF, which, if y'all don't know, that is a long term care facility, like a nursing home. I was sitting at my desk in my office and I needed to make a call. It was a multi line phone where you press one of the lines to call outside the facility. I pushed one of the empty lines, which, if it had been in use, it would have been lit red. And I wouldn't have been able to use it. That's exactly the way our phone system was. As soon as I pressed the line, a voice yelled in a raspy voice, "Help me." Uh-oh. There wasn't anything else, and then I walked around to all the other offices to see if anyone had possibly been on the phone. No one had been using the phone at all. Oh, wow. Help me. And yelling. Oh my gosh. Another time, I was sitting at my desk and I had several pieces of paper sitting on the lower left corner, completely on the desk. I watched the top piece of paper peel back and then float to the floor. There was no air conditioning running or window open. Nobody had come out or in, and I hadn't just sat down. There were other instances I wasn't part of, including voices, a slamming door, and an air conditioner unit running, but there was no unit. Oh my gosh, but there was no unit in the room. Oh, I would love to hear all those stories, Amanda. Feel free to share them. You just won't stay out of the way, will you? Okay, this next one is by Roberta Real. The last story had some really creepy elements to it, particularly for me in the whistling and knocking. Okay, this must have been a video about a Wendigo. That shows intelligence. I don't think I've ever experienced those types of creatures other than the morning my mother passed. It was around dawn, and I was sitting on her front porch when I looked across the street, and there was this solid black figure of a man without clothes. Without clothes. The legs looked muscular. It was walking oddly through my neighbor's garden, like it was trying not to step on something. I couldn't take my eyes off of it, but also it didn't scare me. It just seemed really weird. The only people you see out at that time are usually joggers or walkers. It turned to the side of the house and just disappeared. Now, talking about the room, it did look like there was some light smoke around you. It did. That was a weird video, wasn't it? Scully didn't get into the bean dip again, did he? No, he didn't. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I don't know. I have no explanation why it was so smoky in the room that night. It was literally not smoky in here, for like you couldn't see any smoke, but it was on camera. It was weird. Very weird lights. They've never done that before. But yeah, that is crazy. So you saw a guy without clothes, like a just like solid black. I'm guessing kind of like the person that people have seen around my house, like you can't make out features. I'm thinking that's the kind of black that you're talking about, but no clothes. I don't know. That's weird. And he just disappeared. I mean, can you report indecent exposure to a ghost? Because I don't know. Do ghosts just walk around naked? I'm thinking, I don't know what you could see and what you couldn't, but I don't want to see any naked ghosts. I mean, it's not like they actually have a sheet on, not like little Boo back here. Um, yeah, I'm not real comfortable with that. Look, you. What is your problem? What is your malfunction tonight? What is your malfunction? And we have time for one more. This is by ASMR Tingled Pink, and this actually came from my other channel. But I wanted to share this comment. I lived in an apartment that had quite a bit of paranormal activity. Before moving out, I did an EVP session to talk to whoever may have been there. Upon playback of my recording, I heard what could be considered a Class A EVP that said, "Please help me." It was a man's voice that was clear as day, but very sad. I played the recording for several people and did not tell them what was on it. Immediately, everyone who listened all said the same thing. They clearly heard, "Please help me." I still have that recording to this day, and it was captured back in 2005. Well, I tell you, Tingled Pink, I would love to know the circumstances around that. Um, it's hard for me sometimes to hear EVPs, but I would love to know where you were and who you think that might be. Was it a known person or a known circumstance that you think you were picking up, or was it kind of just like a surprise voice? I would love to hear your story on that. Okay, well, that is enough fun for one night. I guess I'm going to be waiting up late for Scully to get in because, you know, when your skulls are out running around, you want to kind of keep the door open. Whatever. I'll let you know how it goes. Maybe we can all work things out. I have a few surprises for a spooky season. You had asked for costumes last year, and I really didn't have a whole lot prepared, but I do have some things this year. So maybe I will tell my stories in costume. How about that? All right. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe out there. Watch out for all the things that go bump in the night. But whatever you do, just stay spooky. Bye bye.